Hi, Art Seekers. We are here with Peter Gerakaris in Culver City in front of one of your gorgeous works. And thank you so much for inviting me over here. I love the diversity of your work. You do pieces on canvas, you do public installations, and I was hoping that we could focus our dialogue on the public work that you've done.
Absolutely. It's some of the more meaningful work to me in that it obviously gets experienced by a really broader cross-section of humanity and audiences in general. So it's a very fun challenge to make art projects that work on a variety of layers, from having a really strong visual impact on a very visceral level, that's something to just draw people in, but then also having, doing research about the site, the community surrounding the site, and all elements that go into the project to allow there to be other layers which are revealed and other meanings and the details upon not only the second, third, and fourth viewing, but for people who encounter the work on a daily basis and actually live with it. A real highlight for me was working with all of these different layers was on the rooftop of the Surrey Hotel in New York City. They have a beautiful penthouse garden, and they had this lovely garden, but they had part of the architecture which was really undecorated, and it was basically a blank slate, a blank canvas, so to speak. So they wanted an intervention, and in concept I came up with this idea to tie the sky, the cityscape, which is really dramatic. You see iconic buildings like the Empire State and the Bloomberg Building, into the terrestrial space of the garden. So just on a visual level, I worked with collage materials and paint media to make a mixed media installation that synthesized all of these elements into a unique collage space. But at the same time, I liked embedding other layers of meaning that maybe on second or third viewings would reveal themselves, such as I hid the silhouettes of pollinators and honeybees. So you'd stare at this for long enough, start to realize that the work was embedded with these pollinators, and which were actually in reality pollinating all of the lavender plants and flowers right around the installation, flanking the installation.
Some of these other layers of meaning seem to be generated from the site or the culture or the environment, and some seem to be personally generated from you and your own set of experiences. So which of these symbols are personally important to you?
The pollinator is a recurring symbol in kind of my personal lexicon that I think still speaks to more universal issues and dialogue about the disappearance of the worker bee and the honeybee colony collapse disorder, which we rely on so much for all our food and agriculture. But personally, I've always just been fascinated and mesmerized by watching these creatures do their thing in gardens. I grew up with parents who moved back to the land in rural New Hampshire, and they're avid gardeners and built their own home and studio, so I was surrounded by pollinators playing in the garden. I always was transfixed by them. At the same time, I'm highly allergic to bees. So if I get stung, it's bad news. And so there's also this duality of beauty and toxicity all contained in one form. So that's a recurring theme in a lot of my work. I think we can also overly fetishize this idea about the organic because it comes from the earth, it's good for us, and arsenic is organically occurring, and there are many poisonous and toxic plants. So I'm interested in this idea of nature as this very awesome but indifferent power that's to be respected, revered, venerated, but it's sublime. It's very easy in contemporary life to feel disconnected from our environment, and I'm, in a sense, trying to use a more kind of graphic and accessible and urban aesthetic, almost a pop aesthetic and urban lens, as if you've taken nature and filtered it through a pop media kaleidoscope.
And I see that really successfully in the Bergdorf window that you did.
The Bergdorf piece actually came out of a series inspired by Nathaniel Hawthorne's tale, Rappaccini's Daughter, that takes place in a poisonous garden. And so again, it's this idea of all of these gorgeous, seductive, glowing plant forms and flowers, but that are highly poisonous. And so in the Bergdorf installation, you have this kind of muse character who, again, is seductive and alluring, but she's immune to the toxic and poisonous plants which she deals with on a daily basis. And she has also become, in essence, part plant, part human. So she's this hybrid creature, and that's a very powerful image to me and metaphor. So there's a lot of that hybridity and duality in the works that I do.
And certainly the collision of nature and culture, because it's in this consumerist space.
Right.
If there is a general takeaway message that you hope viewers have when encountering your work, what would it be?
I would love people to contemplate their own personal connection to the environment. I'm a recovering nature junkie trying to reconnect with the natural world, but on a broader level, I think I'm not alone in that